guys, and welcome. My name is Brittany Jones. I am a personal trainer, health coach, wellness coach, nutrition coach, and yoga instructor. I am also a health coach for working moms, and today we are going to be going through my daily feel-good routine. I'm going to be moving right along with you during this follow-along workout session. I'll be cueing you and guiding you along the way. As we go, use my body as a reference and a guide, but I really want you to be listening to the words that I'm saying, and I want you to be listening to your body as it will be giving you feedback the entire time we're going through this movement session. And as you may have noticed, I am about 8 months pregnant right now. And so I really wanted to film this movement session, this daily feel-good routine, while 8 months pregnant, because I am pregnant with my third baby right now, and I honestly structurally feel the best that I have throughout any of my pregnancies, and I truly credit it to this routine that I've added in. I'm still doing my lifting and stretching and normal things that I've been doing throughout all of my pregnancies, but this is a new thing, and I truly credit it to how good my body structurally feels. And I'm so excited to share it with you guys today because I've been telling so many people that I would film this, but I have just been tired and too lazy to move my kitchen table out of the way. So here we are, let's do this. Okay, so to get started, I want you to get yourself nice and comfortable and find a position either on the floor or on a mat. Really doesn't make a difference. Honestly, you guys, this is one of those car mats of my kids. We're just making it work, okay? There are no high expectations for this. Just get yourself comfortable. This isn't going to be a big sweaty movement session by any means. So just find a space that works well. I'm enjoying my coffee while we're doing this, okay? Just show up. Now the first thing that we're going to be running through, we're going to start at the top of our body and kind of move our way down through CARS. C-A-R-S. But what that stands for is Controlled Articular Rotations. And essentially what we're going to be doing is just that. We're going to be controlling our movement. And I really want you to think about controlling your movement through your entire available range of motion as we go through each of these. Now, something that I also want to remind you of, like I just said 30 seconds ago, listen to your body and the feedback that it is giving you, because if you feel pain, that's your body's way of saying, a little too far, and just kind of back off a little bit. So I've got a lot of trauma to my neck from a past whiplash injury, and so just depending on how I slept, some days it can look different than others. So we'll see how it looks today. But as we go through this, we just really have to listen to if there are messages that our body is sending us and respond accordingly. So what we're going to do, like I said, we're going to start at the top and work our way down. So I want you to just sit up nice and tall, pull your shoulders back just to a comfortable position. Your arms can be down or on your legs. Whatever you choose, I just want you to stick with that. So again, just get yourself nice and comfortable, sit up nice and tall, but make sure that a wall is not too close to you because we're gonna be bringing our head back and I don't want you to hit your head on a wall. Again, as we sit up nice and tall, now I want you to do a chin tuck, which essentially just means that we are tucking our chin backwards and giving ourselves a double chin. Now again, this is where it's important to keep your mouth closed and the tongue on the roof of your mouth, because again, you may manipulate your jaw as you go through that chin tuck, and I want you to avoid doing that. So we're gonna go through that chin tuck, and then we're gonna bring our chin all the way down to our chest as far as you can. Now from here, you're just gonna pick one direction. I'm going to go to my right, but your left, so we're gonna go to our left, and we're going to scrape. Imagine you're scraping your chin across your collarbone all the way until you get to a point where you're like, okay, yep, that's about as far as I can go. Now from here, you're going to kind of take your head and imagine that you've got a head full of water, right? We're going to dump your head out behind you Nice and slowly. All these movements are very, very slow. When again you get to a point where you're like, okay, I can go no further. Now, keeping your mouth closed, I want you to lift your chin and stretch your chin all the way up and over and around. Again, going really, really slow. Listen if there's any pain and back off if you need to. You're gonna come all the way to the point where it's like you're dumping your head out the other side. Then lift that back up towards the center. As you lift, you're gonna notice that you no longer have that chin tucked into your collarbone. So we just replace that back. Chin is tucked to the collarbone. Scrape that collarbone all the way down to the center. And now we're just going to go back to the opposite side. So now we go to our right, scraping that collarbone nice and slowly, all the way up until you reach that point where you can go no further. Dumping that head back behind you. Reaching your chin up and around, almost like you're drawing a rainbow with your chin. Coming all the way back, then bringing your head right back into that upright position. Tuck your chin back, scrape that chin all the way down the collarbone. And here we're gonna release, shake out the shoulders, but we're gonna do that one more time. I just like to take a little break in the middle to give yourself the opportunity to reset here. So we're gonna be going through all of these just 2 times today during this follow along session. And then if you're on your own doing these, feel free to do anywhere between 3 and 5 rounds. We're just gonna do 2 because I find that that's kind of a good place to start with, and you can work up through there. So again, we sit up nice and tall. Mouth is closed, tongue is on the roof of our mouth. Chin tuck backwards, then bring that chin down to your collarbone and your chest. As far as you can go, you're gonna feel a stretch down the spine. As you go, we're going to the left once again to start with. We're gonna scrape that collarbone over all the way until you can go no further. Dumping your head back behind you with control, always with control. Drawing that rainbow, jutting that chin up and around, keeping your mouth closed, nice and slow. Bringing your head back to that center, tucking the chin, scraping the collarbone, and repeating that all the way back. Scrape that collarbone, all the way to the right. Dump your head back behind you. Slowly draw that rainbow up and around. Coming right back, looking to our left. Bringing your head back up towards the center. Slowly tucking your chin. Scraping your collarbone as you look down at your belly. And then lifting your head all the way back up. Roll out your shoulders. That is our first controlled articular rotation of the day. Our neck is done. It feels free and strong. We've got some blood flowing. We're like, we didn't even know we needed blood flowing. It feels so good. And next we're gonna move into some thoracic movement. So for this one, I'm gonna have you come up onto your knees and then just make sure you've got like a solid base here, okay? I want you to be like strongly balanced. In this position, you might just feel a little unsteady as you go. You may rock from side to side. So I like to bring my knees out wide and kind of cue my participants to do that. Sitting up nice and tall. Now from here, I want from your hips down to stay nice and still. So again, make sure that you're comfortable. We're going to be moving through our thoracic spine. So right through the rib cage. Now the next thing that I'm gonna do is have you take your arms. Again, through the movement, they're gonna stay nice and still. The only movement happening is in our spine. I want you to take your arms and just grab your opposite shoulders. I don't care which arm is stacked, just do whatever is comfortable for you. If you're like, that's not comfortable or available for me, maybe you have a very large breast or you're breastfeeding and it's very uncomfortable at this point in time, maybe you just hold like this or just hold like this, okay? Just do whatever feels comfortable. I just like to cue going through this motion here or this position, because I find that it's a very, very strong position for you to be able to hold and do this movement at the same time. So if this is comfortable, we're grabbing opposite shoulders, sitting up nice and tall. Remember that from your belly button down, I want you to stay nice and still. So in this position, I'm going to turn to the side just slightly so that you can kind of see my range of motion a little bit better. From here, I want you to think just about rounding out through that thoracic spine. So kind of rounding out through that rib cage, just until you get to the point where you would like have to give a little bit to go down any lower. So just through that thoracic spine, just through that rib cage. Now from here, just like we did with your neck, I want you to just kind of rotate. Imagine like we're scraping the collarbone, right? We're kind of scraping and rotating to our left. Now from this position, dump now that rib cage back behind you. As you do this, I'm gonna move them a little bit too close to the wall. Now as you do this, remember, we're dumping back, but we're trying not to change anything throughout our lower body. So try not to shift your hips or make any crazy movements there. We're just rotating back. And what you're gonna notice is that your chest is now really tall and our elbows are pointing straight forward in front of us. Draw that rainbow. We kind of go up and over with that movement all the way over till you're like, okay, I'm stuck, I can't go any further. Then bring that right back in to that tall position, but we're rotated. And then we rotate back to the center. And then we'll just do the opposite side. Now I'm going to come back center facing here so that you can see a little bit better. We're still holding on. We're in that rounded position through our thoracic spine. We do that little bit of a rotation now to our right. As we rotate, when you can go no further, now we're going to dump out that rib cage back behind us. We're feeling a really, really good stretch. Go as far as you can comfortably. Now from here, draw that rainbow with your elbows. But remember, our arms are not pointing as we move. It's just that chest is staying lifted and strong as we come up and around. We come back to that other side. Now we've got to lift that rib cage back up, rotate back in towards the center. Sit up nice and tall, shake out those arms. We're gonna do one more time, but again, we're gonna have a little bit of a reset here to just get ourselves comfortable and into position. All right, we cross those arms. Sitting up nice and tall, we're going to tuck and round out that thoracic spine. From here, we're gonna rotate to our left. Just rotation through the spine, nowhere else. As we dump our rib cage back, we're going slow and controlled, thinking about that chest lifting up as we go. When we can go no further, we bring that chest up even taller. Proud, proud chest as you rotate and round up and over your body. So we're looking now the opposite direction. Now we come right back up and in towards this center, and we've got to rotate back towards that base position in the center. Now from here, going right back to the opposite side. We rotate through our spine as we're in that hunched over position still. Rotating through our spine. When we can go no further, we dump that rib cage back behind us. Again, our chest is nice and proud. We're going through the available range of motion to you. Bringing that chest nice and proud up and over, nice and slowly. Everything is very, very slow. As we reach that point where we can go no further, we might tip over. We bring our body right back up and into that strong position here to the side. We're looking left. And then we rotate right back in towards the center. We're in that hunched over position. Sit up nice and tall and release. Ah, feels so good. We've opened up now our neck. We've opened up through our thoracic spine. Now we're gonna activate up through our shoulders a little bit. Now in this position, you have the option to stay seated still. You can do this standing, you can do it kneeling, whatever works well for you. I'm just gonna stay sitting because it's probably what you're gonna wanna do. If you're already sitting, you may wanna stay sitting. So I'm just gonna show from this position, but if it's more comfortable for you to stand, please feel free. So here we go, starting with these shoulders. Most everyone actually has some sort of like crunching through their shoulders, or we hold stress there. So I want you to be extremely mindful during this movement that if you have pain, if you have discomfort, remember that that is your body telling you to lay off a little bit in just that area. Flirt with that area, but don't cause pain. I'm gonna have you again sitting up nice and tall. If kneeling is not comfortable, feel free to sit on a bolster or a little chair, a kid chair, whatever you want to do. You're going to start with our hand. We're just going to do one arm at a time. You're going to start with your hand in an anatomical position here. So palm is facing forward. As we move through this range of motion, it's very, very interesting. I'm going to show you kind of like a quick sped up version so you can kind of see like what to expect. But you're going to round out, you're going to like take your pinky and try to point your pinky up towards the sky. Kind of come across our midline a little bit here. As you get to the top where you're like, okay, I can't go any further, you rotate that. So now as you're coming down, your thumb is trying to reach up towards the sky as you bring it back down. And then we're gonna do that all the way back up and around, okay? So that's a sped up version. Again, we're gonna go very slow through this to make sure that we are having strength through our available range of motion. So let's get started together. I want you to start with your hand down by your side, starting in that anatomical position just to kind of get you prepared. So my arm is straight out to the side. As I bring this in, it's kind of coming in towards my midline, and my pinky is trying to reach up. Now this hand is chilling, okay? Try not to lean or do anything crazy or funky with your body. Sit up nice and tall, keep your core activated, right? If you're pregnant, it's harder for us, but we can still do this. So we're rotating that pinky as we bring our hand into our midline, trying to fight for that rotation up through that pinky. Try not to curl your fingers, keep that hand open, but rotate, rotate, rotate. We're feeling this all through our shoulders. When you get to the point at the top where you're kind of like, okay, yep, that's about all I've got, then we're gonna kind of rotate that palm. Now our palm is kind of rotating, pushing away from us. And as we go back behind, now I want you to think about your thumb aiming back behind you. And as you get even further, try to pull that thumb up towards the sky as you reach your arm down. Feeling a lot right here, a lot of stretching, a lot of blood flowing in there. My shoulder is starting to get a little hot. Now we're just going to take that in through the opposite way, okay? We're just going to come right back from where we started. So now we're aiming that thumb up towards the sky as we go back up. When you're like, okay, I'm stuck, that's all I've got. That's where we're going to open up and rotate that palm back the other way. Again, now it's our pinky. Our pinky is aiming up towards the sky as it kind of crosses our midline. Let me straighten out so you can see. Crosses our midline here, and we come all the way back down to our base position. I like to kind of just shake that out one time, kind of reset there a little bit, and we're gonna go through it again. We pull that arm into the midline as we're fighting for that rotation of our pinky to come up. Pulling up, keeping your shoulders back. Now when you get to that point where you're like, okay, can't go any further than that, hit that rotation of your palm. Palm faces out, away from you, and as you continue to rotate, we then fighting for that thumb. It's like it's trying to pull up and in, fight for that rotation. And then when you can go no further, we bring it back, same way we came. We pull that arm up, that thumb is fighting for that rotation. When you could go no further, rotate that palm all the way around, full rotation through the shoulder, and we come in. Pinky is trying to fight for that rotation, now up towards the sky. Arm stays straight as we slowly lower all the way down. Oh. Let's go ahead and do the other side. Sitting up nice and tall, core is tight, palm is out to the side. We're gonna rotate that pinky up and in, coming across slightly into the midline, all the way up until you're like, okay, I can't go any further. And then we rotate that back. Oops, a little too close to the wall again. Rotate, see, this is not ideal, okay? I don't want you dealing with this. I'm just trying to make sure you can see me. But we're rotating this back now. The thumb is trying to point up towards the sky, right? We're fighting for that rotation here, bringing it all the way down. And then we go back just the way that we came. Rotation is staying strong through that shoulder as we come up. When we can go no further, we rotate that back and around. Now we're fighting for that rotation in the opposite direction. That pinky is fighting up towards the sky and back to the center. A little bit of a shake out. We go just the same way, same thing, one more time. So we pull that arm slightly into the midline as our rotation through our pinky and through our entire shoulder capsule is coming up and in. When we can go no further around, we rotate through that, the entirety of that shoulder, palm faces out and then down. Thumb is rotating and fighting for that rotation up towards the sky as your arm is coming down. Same thing, right back, nice and slow. Arm is rotating up as the thumb is pulling towards the sky. When you can go no further, bring that rotation all the way back and around with control, slowly coming all the way back and relax. Nice work. 3 down, 2 to go. We got this. Next, we're gonna be moving into our hip. For this one, we're actually going to be lying down on the floor, which is just so lovely. Make sure that you have something comfortable that you're laying on. Like ideally, I would not be doing this on a hardwood floor. I would be on carpet or something, or a really thick mat, because this is just not comfortable for my hips to be laying on. For the purpose of this filming, I'm gonna do this right here. But for you, find something comfortable. I want you to make sure that you are able to like kind of lay comfortably here on your arm. If not, get yourself like a yoga block or curl up a sweatshirt or something and give yourself a comfortable position for your neck, because I just don't want this to be uncomfortable throughout the entire movement here. But again, I'm laying comfortably through my neck. My lower leg is bent. I'm gonna straighten out my top leg. And as I do that, I want you to just kind of set your hip up into a strong position as though you have pressed your leg firmly straight, like you're pushing a wall against you, or you're doing like a leg press or something, okay? Now from here, I want this hand again to be stabilizing you, but just kind of check and make sure that you like feel really strong through everything here. And then place this hand on the floor for support. We're going to be taking this leg. I want you to keep your foot flexed. You're gonna bend your knee in towards your body. Remember, we're listening to your body's range of motion. Go up as high as you can. When you're like, okay, yep, that's about as far as I can go. If you feel any pain or pinching, back off. We're gonna open that up towards the sky. So we're literally opening our hip up. When you get to the point where you're like, okay, yeah, again, I cannot go further, we're gonna rotate. So I want you to think about rotating your foot up and your knee down as you go back behind you. I'm hitting my wall again, you guys. But we're rotating back behind, and then, so we are feeling a lot happening through our hip here. And then we're gonna come all the way back, kind of moving that in and around. So think about like the full range of motion through your hip. So now we just go back the same way we came, right? So we kick this back almost like a donkey kick that you would do like in yoga or Pilates. Kicking that leg back, we're feeling our butt, hips are strong. As you're like, okay, yep, there it is. We open that up towards the sky so that if we were standing, we would have like a 90-degree angle here at our hip, and we bring that all the way back in and around towards the center. We're gonna straighten out that leg and do it again. So we pull that in towards the chest, coming up as high as you can, Core is nice and tight, opening up through that hip. Remember, this is a hip car, so we're thinking all about your hips here. Rotating that knee down and your foot up as you're bringing your foot back behind you, so we're looking for some extension there. Then we bring it all the way in, come back to the center, and then repeat just the opposite. Pulling that hip back behind, looking for extension here, then opening that up, looking for that external rotation of the hip as we bring that hip all the way up and around. Oh, I got a little crack in there. And we come all the way back towards the center, full extension. There's our 2 on that side, and we're just gonna flip over and do the same thing on the other side. Also, how do you like my fuzzy socks? Like, who doesn't do their workouts in fuzzy socks, right? Am I right? Okay. Whew. Repositioning pregnant is always interesting. We're gonna straighten out this top leg. Remember, we're gonna brace ourselves with this arm, but first I just want you to kind of feel all those muscles. Give yourself a little squeeze. Same thing here. We're gonna be pulling our knee in towards the center. Knee is pulling up, up, up until you're like, okay, I can go no further. Then we open that up and around. Remember, we're looking for like a 90-degree angle through this knee as we open up. As you get to that point where you can go no further, rotate the knee down and the ankle up as we extend back behind us. Okay, so we're feeling a lot through that glute right now, and then we kind of circle that back in. So remember, we're kind of looking for full circular range of motion through that joint capsule. Now we go back the same way that we came. We're pressing that foot back behind us, looking for extension. Okay, try not to arch that back as you go. Keep that nice and strong. When you're like, okay, there it is, we open. Knee now comes up, foot comes down as we come back in and around. We're rotating, pulling that knee up and in and complete, and lengthening up that leg. Then we bring that knee all the way back in. Pull it up as high as you can. Core is nice and tight. Focus just on the hip here as you open up that hip to this side. Now, remember, knee comes down as your foot goes back, as you reach for extension through your hip. Core is nice and strong to hold you balanced. Brace yourself with that arm as you come back into the center. Go back just the way that you came. Extend that leg back behind you, looking for extension through the hip. When you're like, okay, I can go no further, we open up through that knee, foot comes down as we get back to that like nice frog position here, birthing position, and the knee comes back in and around to the center, and you have finished your hip cars. Next, we're gonna do our knees. This one is very simple compared to the other ones. So now what we're gonna be doing in this positioning is just sitting down comfortably. We're gonna have our working leg out in front of us. The other one is just wherever you want it to be. We're working through range of motion through our knee. And now this seems very weird when you've never done it before. So if you're like, range of motion through my knee, what? Like, isn't it just front to back? Nah, we got more range of motion than that. So what I want you to do, sit up nice and tall, right? Like, get yourself into a nice comfortable position. And then I want you to hold on to your femur. So that's your thigh bone. What I like to do is have my thumbs kind of just like right along the top of that, like where my kneecap is about to start, because I like to think about that being like my control and my visual guide to see if I'm moving my leg around. Now from here, all I want you to think about, keeping your femur or your thigh in the exact same spot. Don't move it, okay? Rotate your foot out. So we're getting rotation here through your tibia and your fibula. And then we're gonna rotate that right back the other side. Internal rotation isn't gonna have quite as much as the external probably for you. Very normal. Back and forth. Now with this one, as always, we are going very slow. We are being very mindful of our movement, very mindful of our range of motion. Remember, fight the resistance to like open up through your thigh, okay? We're just moving through that knee capsule. Do one more side to side. Perfect, and that's it. That one I do a couple more repetitions just because they're so quick. So I like to do 5 or 6 of those just because they are like boom, 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 quick, to the point. So let's switch to the other side. Sitting comfortable, this leg is wherever you want it to be. This leg is out front, having your hands on your thigh, right below the knee as a guide, toes pointing up. We're gonna rotate that in and out. Remember, the movement happening at your joint is just that tibia moving and rotating, but your entire lower leg is going. So it's your tibia and fibula that are moving, but it's tibial rotation at the knee. Nice and slow. Making sure that you're breathing, keeping that control. You may feel all these little muscles through that calf and tibialis anterior, front of the shin. All right, nice. That's it for the cars. You nailed it on that. There's a couple more movements that we're going to do, but I'm gonna reposition the camera really quick, and I want you to grab a resistance band or a scarf for this next section. All right, so like I said, I want you to have either a resistance band or a scarf. Resistance band is very much preferred to a scarf, but if you don't have one, I don't want that to be like your limiting factor, okay? You can also like tear up an old t-shirt to have like a long stretchier piece of material. I just like having that stretch so that you're not resisted through your movement. We are going to be doing a band range of motion series through our shoulder that's very releasing and strengthening to our shoulders and our neck and all of that good stuff. If you have ever done one of my programs before, it is very likely that you have seen this move because I love it. So what we are going to do, you're going to take your band, and then all you're going to do, watch magic, you're going to loop around and just grab some here. So if you're like, what did you just do? Just take your band and loop it around your hand, okay? I really just don't want these things like flailing around and hitting you in the face because, ouch. We've got a nice grip on our band. I want it to be a very light resistance, okay? So in these bands that I have, it goes yellow, green, red, blue, black, and I have green. So the second to the least resistance on these bands, that's what we're going for here. Light resistance, we're just working through range of motion. So when you do that, I want you to have like a little bit wider than shoulder-ish distance apart on that grip where there's no tension. Then grip strong through your hand, not just your fingers, your whole hand, because we need grip strength. I want you to make sure that your wrists are straight and not flailing up or down. Then you're gonna pull this so that you've got like a YMCA going on, right? But straight out in front of you. And I want you to make sure that you've got strong posture. And we are going to be doing range of motion up and overhead. And I want you to listen to your body. We are going to go up and over. Try to imagine that the band is not changing length. So you're holding that. Now if you're like, oh my God, this is so much, just bring it right on back, okay? That's your limit. We're coming up and back. If you're like, oh, I got a little bit further, great. If not, that's okay too. We're gonna do 3 more, we're gonna do 5. All the way back, as far as you can go, okay? I have availability because I've been doing this for years to go all the way back and around. But when I first started doing this, I could like just get it over my head, okay? And that is okay because we are here and we are meeting you where you are today, all right? Last one, coming back. Now bring it back into the center. Now here's where things get even more fun with the band. We're gonna take this band, come down, so now it's crossing over our thumb and we're gripping it. We're literally just adding tension to the band, okay? Now this one I'm gonna get up on my knees a little bit because I want you to be able to see my positioning through my shoulders. We are going to be doing external rotation of the shoulders. From a side view, We're gonna be taking this band, I want 90-degree angles at your elbows, and I want your shoulders pulled back and down strong. Like I am talking feel them strong. Now from here, our palms are up. Remember, we don't want palms or our wrists to be like cracked or broken, if you know what I mean, right? We want them strong. Now from here, all we're going to do, elbows are pinned at our sides. I want you to imagine you have a $100 bill between your elbow and your rib cage. Do not let it go. Open up and bring it back in. So our elbows are staying perfectly still here. The only movement that's happening is our hands are opening up to the side, okay? But the actual joint movement is happening in our shoulders. We're gonna do 2 more here. And then we bring that back in. Should have said this before we started that part, but if you've ever had like rotator cuff injuries or things like that, you're probably gonna feel that one, and you may need to just like do no weight and just go through body weight until you are comfortable enough and pain-free enough to do it with no resistance. Now what we're gonna do is the last movement in this band range of motion series is we're gonna release that grip, so we come back to just that like shoulder-ish distance apart grip. Shoulders back and down, spine is straight. We're just gonna do a chest opener here, which it's opening through our chest, but we're actually working the muscles in our back. We're gonna open up here. I want the band to hit between your boobs and your collarbone. No higher, no lower. And I know what you're thinking, my boobs are much lower than they used to be. I don't care, okay? Between boobs and collarbone, that's where I want this to hit. So we come out and back in. I want slow and controlled the whole entire time. What I don't want to see is this, okay? We don't want arching going on during this. I want it strong. Again, we're feeling this in our back and in the back of our shoulders. 1 more here. Perfect, that's it. Okay, we've got 1 more move with the band. This one, same thing, we're gonna kind of keep that shoulder-ish distance apart grip that we've got, but what I want you to do is just take like 1/2 of an inch in, okay? We're just gonna need like slightly more tension than you just had. We're gonna be doing a band lat pull down. Now, if you have like the availability to have your band up on something and do like a standard lat pull down, do that. Like that would be ideal. But if you don't, this can so totally be done without having like a point of resistance to pull down from. And how we're going to do that is literally just make it happen. So we're going to have that tension. We're gonna come up, pull our shoulder blades down and back. So we're gonna open up a little bit, which already activates everything right here by just pulling. Now all I want you to do, keeping this band like really close to your face as you pull down, I want you to think about your lats, which are these big muscles here on your back. We're gonna think about your lats as you drive your elbows down towards your rib cage. Remember that the band stays really close to your face and your body as you pull down. If you need more resistance at the top, just grab a little bit more, pulling down and back up. Keeping the tension in the band the entire time will help you stay activated through those lats. Perfect, nice work. So for that one, again, we're activating all those muscles up back here, which are super crucial for like posture and all of that good stuff, especially if you are pregnant and or breastfeeding or have toddlers, because we are just like picking up kids, we are nursing, we are holding, we have a giant stomach that's pulling us forward or giant boobs that are pulling us forward. Very, very important muscles to strengthen. We have 1 more movement that we're gonna do on the ground, and then we're gonna stand it up for 2 more moves, and then you're done. This next move, kneeling hip extensions. Essentially all that we are doing is taking those muscles that we activated during those hip cars, and we are turning them on for strength. So what I want you to do is sit up really, really nice and tall. I want you to think about your tailbone kind of pointing down and back just a little bit. So not straight down into the ground, but just back a little bit, okay? Notice that small little tilt, because what we're gonna do is be hinging forward just slightly, okay? So this would be straight up and down, and then this is hinging forward. Now in this position, we kind of already have to turn the old butt on, okay? Our legs are strong, okay? Knees are not together, they're apart just slightly, about hips width distance apart. Now from here, hands can be wherever you want. If you are uncomfortable and want me to tell you where to put them on your hips. Core is tight. We're gonna be squeezing our butt muscles as we come all the way up. It's almost like we're doing a deadlift, okay? Hip extension, we're pressing the hips forward. Keep your butt as tight as you can as you lower back down. It's very, very hard to keep your butt tight as you lower back down, but that is the entire intention of this movement, is activating your butt muscles during range of motion, because, well, that's when we need them to be on. If your knees are cracking, join the club. That is what you can hear in the background right now, is my knees cracking. Here we go, keep it up. Nice strong motion here. Remember, our glutes are tight the whole time. So if you're like, mine aren't, stop, tighten them, and then go again. Try to keep them tight as you lower back down. 2 more here. Keep them squeezed. Last one all the way up. And back down. Nice. All right, let's stand up. We've got 2 more moves and then we are done. So now that we are standing, again, if you've done my programs before, you're probably not gonna be surprised that the next 2 moves are squats and then lunges. Just 2 very strong powerhouse strength moves, getting everything all fired up. Now, if you are pregnant, your stance is most definitely going to be wider than it normally is during a squat. Normally, you're a little bit wider than hips width distance apart. And just kind of rock back and forth from heel to toe, squeezing your butt as you do that. Let your toes come out to the side, and that's your squat form. But when we are pregnant, we've got more going on, so we gotta open that up a little bit. I want you to just think about keeping your core nice and strong, spine fairly straight throughout this entire motion. Pressing your knees out. Wait a second, actually. Squeeze your butt, okay? We activated it during that kneeling hip extension. So now turn it on. Remember what that feels like. Press your knees out as you lower down and coming back up. Now what I want you to remember throughout this motion is that I want your heels to be connected to the floor the entire time. We're pushing predominantly through our heels here. The balls of our feet are putting maybe like 30% of pressure in, and our toes are just gripping. They're just like here for balance, but they're not actually the ones doing the work. All right, we're pressing through our heels. And another thing I want to mention is that if you are pregnant, you're probably leaning a little bit more forward because we've got a lot going on here, but try to fight to keep that chest just as tall as you can through that squat. All right, nice work. Just doing a couple of those to get things moving. You can hear how out of breath I am. And the last thing that we're gonna do are lunges. Now, for a lunge, essentially, all a lunge is a squat on one leg, right? And when we squat, we kind of lower our body down a little bit, right? So that's gonna happen in our lunge too. So I don't want you to think about stepping back onto our back leg. I actually want you to put all your pressure on your front leg. Core is nice and tight, shoulders are back. I'm terrible about I swear my head just falls asleep when I'm doing lunges, but try to keep your neck in line with your spine. Then you're gonna step back into a lunge, okay? Doesn't have to be crazy. You can do a short stance, wide stance, whatever you wanna do. Step back, slowly lower down. I want you to get depth here, okay? A lunge that only goes down that far, yes, activates things up, okay? But try to get a little bit more depth on every single repetition, because that's what's gonna turn things on. If you are very pregnant like me, and you have had a tendency to have your hips go out of place or any pubic symphysis pain, that pain right in the front of your pubic bone, don't go for depth, okay? Maybe you're just doing little tap backs, okay? Let's switch to the other side, do the other leg. Press down through that foot, chest is tall, neck is in line with the spine. We kind of hinge forward a little bit here still, right? Nice little step back. If you're pregnant, we are not going for depth. But if you aren't having hip issues, which I am not right now, so I am getting some nice depth here to activate up range of motion and all those muscles through the hip. I want you to feel your butt muscles, your quads working, but I want your mind to be here. Let's do one more. And you're done. So that, my friends, is my feel-good routine. I have been doing it every single day. The only things that I will say is that, like those last moves, the squats and the lunges, if I am like wiped out tired just from pregnancy and things, I skip those sometimes. Like, I will be completely honest. But everything else I have been doing religiously every single day, and it has truly made such an impact on how I feel physically. Can't recommend it enough. But remember that every single person's body is so incredibly different. If you have moves that you know, like, oh yeah, but like, I have to do this every day because it helps me too, do that too. Like, add that in. And if there's moves in here that you're like, this does not feel good for me, talk to your doctor, your physical therapist, your chiropractor, whatever. Send me a message. Like, I can try to help you out as much as I can. Unless it's out of my scope. Listen to your body. These moves are great. They are amazing. I have given them to several people who have felt very, very good after doing them as well. But your body is your body. So listen to it. Be kind to it. As always, start slow, ease in. I will see you soon. I'm sending you so much love. I haven't done a follow along workout on here in so long, and felt really freaking good. So hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please comment below and let me know. If you have any questions or any ideas for other like workouts or videos that you want to see, keep me posted. Make sure that you subscribe and then follow me on Instagram as well at Hey It's Brittany Jones.